Hey guys, how you doing? My name's Kendra. I'm one of the managers at USA Teens Today. We also do test preparation at USA Teens Today and also with Jacobit's Learning, and we tutor students from ages 6 until 21. Hey, one of the things USA Teens Today does is ask you what makes you unique. Besides your DNA, you have a unique style. You also have a unique learning style. And once you know your learning style, you can then sit down and find out your testing style. You have to have your testing style to get to success. But you will find out that most of the people who have the most success on the SAT are the people who put in a certain amount of hours. And keep in mind, because you're all different individuals, your hours are going to be different. Some people will have to do 3 hours a week. Some people will only need to do 1 hour a week. Let's go over some tips for the SAT before we delve into actually practicing. Tip 1. Try to skim the first and last passages. This is a tried and true strategy just because it's a time test and often you people run out of time. Tip 2. As you're reading, become an active reader. You will have an online test, some of you, and some of you will have a paper test. If you have a paper test, circle or underline contrasting words. Circle and underline words that stick out to you. If you have a computer test, you will have a pop-up notepad and you need to start writing down certain words. And some of the tests did let students circle, but if you can't circle the words from the text, always try to write pop-up words on the actual notepad that's there. Always keep in mind the author's focus. Always try to find out where the author is going to go last. If you go to the last sentence in each paragraph, try to see how they're connecting. If you can't do that, look at the first paragraph and try to summarize the main idea in your head, and then go to the last paragraph and summarize the main idea and see if there are any differences or contrasts there. Let's take a look at this. This is describing some of what was written in our one of the SAT preps we used. There was a poem we used because on the SAT for the reading, you will have some poems. Most of it is a reading passage. But for this being our first one that we're doing live, we decided to do it this way. The word elegant sticks right out. It's the first word in the stanza. Okay, both she and my mom. The author is talking about somebody who's elegant, she and her mom. Boom, there it is, Jacqueline Kennedy's style. And then the rest of the stanza goes into tried a widow's peak, tried Puffy Buffon, tried and tried to resemble a significant role model in the 1960s towards the end of an era where peace was needed. Why are you looking at these individual words? They help you understand the author's purpose, the author's intentions. If you go to the second stanza, you're going to see imagery, or you're going to see words, and you should think of them in imagery. Coco Chanel. You guys know what that is. There's two C's that interlock with each other. You should perfume, pearls. She was just elegant. And many women spent a lot of money on her clothes. But if you look in here in the second stanza, it says, my mom relied on less expensive version of Chanel elegance. My mom relied on a less expensive version of Chanel elegance should remind you that the person's mom is trying to imitate Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. Try to look at specific words that will come up to you. On this slide, you will see words like elegant, copied, resemble, widow's peak, constraints, compare. All those words should help you put the passage together. That's tip number 3, to analyze the passage. There's a larger part of the first 3 stanzas. Analyzing composure. My mother used this word to refer to Jackie O. How did she remain that composed is in quotations. That means a mom is speaking. A sabotage, a conspiracy, who knows? Okay, why is she using those words? Why would Jackie O have to remain composed? And then here we have a repeating motif, the end of an era where peace was needed. There's just some pictures of imagery. There's the elegant Jacqueline Bouvier, Kennedy Onassis. There's some Chanel. Here's just some more things to remind how you can get into understanding the author's purpose. We're still on analyzing. Here's a question that we actually wrote. When you get on the SAT, you will see this. The author's point of view most likely resembles which of the following? Very often they will turn that question into the author's point of view, or they'll say the main idea. You pretty much are getting the same question thrown at you a different way. But let's analyze this. Is it A, a concerned mother, B, an aggressive teacher, C, a discontented lover, or D, a daughter who loves her mother? Well, words my mother used. We should be able to look at the title and figure that one out. With the title, it also wouldn't be a concerned mother because the person is talking about their mother. An aggressive teacher, could be a teacher wrote this poem, but she's not aggressive. She's very, very happy. Discontented, the person isn't really discontented with anything, with the mother, with Jackie O. And so probably the answer is D, a daughter who loves her mother. It's the closest. Maybe it's not the best way that the author could have put the question, but it's the one that is the closest to your answer. Okay, imagery and motifs. Motif is something that's repeated as a symbol. These are just questions to get you to try to think through how you are analyzing a passage. Literary flow, we've kind of touched upon that, but it's how the whole poem is moving. Elegant, she was elegant. Composure, she was composed. Just trying to think of what's going on in the poem, that the author is kind of moving the same way throughout the poem. Tip 3 was analyze the passage, but we have it here as tip 4. Again, you're going to think of more things. Questions. This is question number 2. What is the major reason the speaker may have written the poem? Is the speaker showing love for her mother? Possibly. You can do your process of elimination here. B, is the speaker showing how fashion design shaped women of the 1960s? That may be a little bit too broad. The speaker isn't showing how fashion designs shaped women of the 1960s. She used Coco Chanel as part of the elegance Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis had, but it's not specifically fashion designs for the women of the 1960s. The speaker reveres Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. That is true too. The speaker is showing how her mother's style was shaped by female icons of the 1960s. This could be close, but let's see how. You need to look at A, C, and D and see which one is more narrow. Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis comes up several times. She's almost in every stanza. So you might want to leave C. The speaker is not just specifically showing love for her mother, though. She's bringing up how the speaker used specific women and how the speaker used this woman, specifically Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, to revere style that her mother had. Those are the answers to your questions. Number 1 was D, 2 was D. Tip 4 was practice at least 3 reading passages before taking a time test. That's what really was supposed to happen, and that was your 4th tip. So when you get a chance, if you have something from the College Board, you can download American College Board and see if you can try 3 passages. They will give you an account. Some of the other testing units are out there that will allow you to do 3 reading passages. Tip 5. If you lasted this long, you can take tip 5. That's why the clap is there. You want to look at all these words. Some of them you should know. Let's try number 3, draconian. If you take the C out, drop that, and put a G, you have dragon. There you go. Draconian means harsh, just like a dragon blowing something at you. Jeremiad. Jeremiah was a character in religious texts, and he would talk all the time, very, very long. So Jeremiah is a very, very long and draining piece of literature, mostly a poem. Take a look at 17 and 18. Servile, come on, here's your main root word, serv, close to a servant, so that gives you what that is. Subservient is here for number 18. You have the same thing, serv, servant. Subservient means to feel that you're under somebody, so you're even under a servant. So try to think of these words. Here you go. Nomenclature for 14. Nomen is Latin for name. So this is how you name something. Nomenclature. 13, if you are a meticulous student, means you work very hard. Maybe you've heard your teachers use that before. Should you have any questions, guys, you can always refer to this book. This is at Amazon.com. We wrote this book for SAT and standardized test preparation. There you're looking at the prices. There are 100 questions in there, including math and reading. If you have any questions, you can email us at usateenstoday@gmail.com or at kjacovitz@jacovitslearning.com. Thank you for reading the presentation. Thank you for paying attention too. Have a